Hello, everyone. Welcome to Survival Jobs, a podcast in collaboration with BroadwayWorld. My name is Samantha Tuozzolo, and this is my amazing, beautiful, perfect co-host, Jason A. Coombs. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Samantha Tuozzolo. Thank you for the nice intro. Hey, survivors. Thanks for tuning in.
Survivors, happy millionth episode. I feel like we have so much. I don't even know. 56.
I think it's 57. I'm so dead. Happy millionth episode. Can you imagine?
No, that's a lot. That's a lot.
What's your temperature check like today?
Thank you. The change of the weather really was shocking because one day everybody was in shorts. And then the next day it was freezing. I believe it snowed in some areas this week. So I was feeling like my head congested, a bunch of weird things. So that was part of my temperature check. Second part of my temperature check is I am so hyped for Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving food. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm feeling good. How about you? Tell me your temperature.
Yeah, my temperature check is good. I'm just, I was a little tired today, but really excited. We had the Bridgeport Art Trail this past weekend, which was a lot of fun. We had, screening for the film fest, and then my friend Sarah, who did her cabaret, the Krabby Cabaret. It was awesome. It was like a full house. Lisa Lampanelli was the guest. was the guest star. And we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. So I'm feeling very rejuvenated, very happy. That's one less thing on my plate.
Yeah, I'm dead that we're already talking about the Bridgeport Film Festival again.
I know, right?
We just did it. I'm confused.
Well, we just gotta start planning like a year in advance, and it's less than a year. So
definitely is less than a year.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I was gonna say that I saw Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
And it was definitely an experience. Definitely an experience. Okay. I highly recommend it, and I think that they had a huge challenge. Ryan Coogler, the director and writer, had a huge challenge to make a sequel to a movie after your lead, actor dies unexpectedly. So it's a very beautiful love letter to Chadwick Boseman and
must have
Angela
been so
Bassett.
Emotional.
Yeah, it's cried a couple of times. And I think I was watching something where Angela Bassett, who plays Black Panther's mom, Queen Ramonda, she was saying how like before they started shooting, like the cast and I guess like the main crew all went to like Chadwick Boseman's place of burial and did like a little tribute to him there, and like so intense, right? It's like, wow, to lose someone like that. I know, right?
That just gave me body chills through my whole body.
Yeah.
Body chills through my whole body because that makes sense. I literally repetitive. Okay. Wow. I need to go. You saw it in the theater. Is that the only place?
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX. Yeah, I think for now it's it's only,
I think you have to see it in IMAX.
Yeah, I mean, because it's epic, it's epic. And what I'm not big into the superhero movies just because there's so many and I can't keep track of all of them, and there's too many, and like, I feel like sometimes they're kind of they kind of write them kind of stock, like by the stock kind of, there's like, I feel like there's a lot of jokes and this epic thing and blah blah blah, but I feel like with Black Panther, it's because it's so soulful and thematic in ways that really resonate with the culture. And this film has a lot of like Mayan and kind of native, like, is it native Mexican? I don't want to say the wrong thing, but that kind of like those kind of roots are buried in this, and the actor who plays like the villain, I think his name is Tanakh. He's a Mexican actor, and to see that culture on the big screen in a movie like this is also like really cool and really inspiring, because I don't want to make this too long, but he was basically saying like a lot of Mexican like media has a lot of like white Mexicans, so to see someone who is the lead of the superhero movie who's like a darker brown skinned Mexican, more indigenous looking, is breaking down barriers, which is so important, and we love that.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
Well, great. I'll definitely have to go see it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be in theaters for the next 28 months probably, so
Yeah, I was just gonna say probably for a really long time. Um, I
Yeah,
quickly wanted to just say one thing before we chat about our guest
please.
today.
Mhm.
Um, I got to go to the opening night of Kimberly Akimbo, which
Oh,
we
you love
know
that
I love this
show.
show. And I just wanna repeat myself to our faithful listeners. This
Yeah,
show is so amazing and beautiful and touching and funny. You laugh, you cry. I haven't seen musical theater, like an original piece of musical theater like this in a while. I feel like I say that a lot. I'm like, theater hasn't done this to me in a while, like for everything that I love, but I
it's like,
feel
"Yeah,
that
this happened last week, Sam."
yeah, for parade. No, but I feel that that feeling comes when things are so great. It got
For sure.
rave reviews, like no notes. Like the reviews were flawless. So I'm telling you guys, run, get a ticket. Past guest Stephen Boyer is phenomenal, so amazing in it.
I love
I
Stephen
just
Boyer.
love this show. I love Stephen Boyer as well. I love
You
this
guys should
show,
follow
and
him on Instagram. Sorry,
he's
go ahead.
funny. No,
Yeah.
you should follow him on Instagram. He's really funny, and it's a critic's pick. And while I'm on that,
Mhm.
real quick, I'm looking at my phone just so I can give you correct information. My good friend Patrick is one of the producers on Mike Birbiglia, The Old Man in the Pool, playing at Lincoln Center. I have not
Nice.
seen it yet, but it got also great reviews. It's on my list. I hear it's like an amazing piece of theater. So go run and see that too. And there's my promos for the week.
Yes, promos for the week.
Thank you. Thank
Cool.
you.
Let's talk about Dan Rosales.
Yes, Dan Rosales. Guys, we just literally interviewed him 2 seconds ago.
Love
2
it.
seconds ago. He's great. He's joining us from San Diego. Like, he's in the middle of a run, and he shared his time with us. So we're so excited for you guys to
Yeah.
listen to
He's
this
in I
episode.
just want to make sure that I say this right. So I'm opening the email because he's in a production of Scrooge, right? That we didn't get to talk about too much.
We
So I
really
did
didn't.
want to drop it in here really quickly. So it's Ebenezer Scrooge's big San Diego Christmas show. It's playing November
Fun.
23rd to December 29th at the Cheryl and Harvey White Theater in the Conrad Prebys Theater Center, which is in San
Fierce.
Diego. So check it out, y'all. Go to the website. We'll put it in the link below. Get tickets and support local theater. Theater's not only in New York City, you know.
That's
So
right. That's right. Our
yeah,
San Diego listeners run to the show.
yes,
So let's tell everyone a little bit about Dan, Jay. You want to kick it off?
sure. I do want to kick it off once I go back to that tab.
I can kick it off.
I got it. I got it. I was switching between tabs.
You're like, sure. I'm like, hello, Jason. Are you there?
I have like the window, like this window
Do you
open.
know
Okay,
that?
cool.
Hold on, real quick. Do you know Bear Pop Opera? Do you know that music at all?
Yeah,
And
Jason,
I
did I
just
get your
said,
number? Jason, right?
yeah, is it? I don't know. I don't know. I just said, are
You
you there?
and
And I was
I.
like, are you there? Are you there? Do you watch me when I cry? I think that's
Oh
Bear.
yeah.
Anyway, there's enough of my singing for the week.
I love when you sing. No, but I think that song isn't that the opening song to Bear? It's like, Jason, did you get my number? Because it's about the closeted
Yes.
guy. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Well, you guys, you
You
know what?
and
You just
I.
got a free you just got a free Bear Pop Opera performance by
Yes.
Samantha and Jason. Thank
You
you.
and take me, you're making me breathless, right? Why I lurk in hallways, I'll be with you always, always together, forever you and I.
That's right. That's right. I'm crying. And every time I don't go out, like on a weekend night, I'm like, a
Oh
quiet
shit.
night at home, silent night. You know that one? A joy to pass, a
I
quiet
don't
night at
remember it that
home.
well. Yeah.
Opera,
Bear pop
sigh.
opera. Okay. Back
That
to
is
Dan.
funny. Dan.
Okay. Dan Rosales was part of the first AEA approved production during COVID-19, Godspell at the Berkshire Theater Group. Off Broadway credits include Trevor, a new musical at Stage 42, and originating the titular role of Lin-Manuel Miranda in Spamilton, Harold and Dogman the musical at the Lucille Lortel.
National tour credits include Peter Pan, Peter Pan 360.
Mm.
Regionally, Dan has been seen at the Kennedy Center, the Old Globe, Paper Mill Playhouse, Goodspeed, Agunquit Playhouse, Weston Playhouse. Television credits include Evil on CBS, The Good Fight also on CBS, Trevor on Disney Plus. Dan can also be heard in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Rush Duels on Nintendo Switch. Dan is a proud graduate of the Boston Conservatory at Berklee School of Music. Should we let everybody listen, Jay?
Yes, and yeah, check out his website, danrosales.net, for more
Check it
info.
out for more info. And
Right.
next week, guys, survivors, we'll be back with some more Bear Pop Opera for your listening pleasures.
Maybe.
Depends on our mood, honestly.
Enjoy, everybody.
Enjoy, you guys.
Hello, Dan Rosales. Thank you for joining us today from San Diego, California.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. Like I said before, I've been listening to the pod, or the audio comedy all morning to get ready for this. So it's like kind of cool to actually meet you now after listening.
I'm sure you're not annoyed by my voice yet, hopefully.
Never.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you, like Jason said. We're definitely going to talk a lot about Rolling Calls, your new audio comedy on BPN, as we get in the interview. But just to kick it off, we always love to start and jump right in and talk about survival jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, what do you think defines a survival job?
What do I think defines a survival job? I think a survival job is something that I feel like is inherent to like the arts and artists or people who want to create in that general vibe that have to take on a job, survival job, to supplement their more important life, much to the chagrin of their hopes and dreams. So it's stuff that pays the bills, pays the rent, and can get you on that subway to and from your survival job.
On the subway.
The ultimate goal of never stepping foot in that establishment or on that laptop again for that reason.
Totally. I really love that question and the kind of answers we've been getting, because I feel like ultimately they're all like the same idea, the answers, but everybody describes it a little bit differently. So it's my new favorite question, in case anyone wanted to know that.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, you are a working actor, obviously, but did you have a favorite survival job while you were on your journey trying to get to where you are now? That maybe impacted you positively?
Yeah. So when I first moved to the city after graduating school, I got a job at this restaurant called Isabella's on the Upper West Side.
Oh my God, I used to go to Isabella's all of the time.
Yes.
Wait, was Dan your server?
So sorry to always interrupt everyone. My best friend roommate is Ben Simpson, who also worked at Isabella's.
Who I went to school with. Yes,
correct. Yes. So there we go. We always talk about Ben on the show, and he literally never listens. So annoying. Oh. Okay. Okay. Isabella's. Yes, it was so good. Okay, sorry. You may proceed.
It was a good survival job. And thanks to Ben and our mutual friend Ariel, who I also went to school with, they worked there at the same time. And I had gotten a recommendation to the GM, and I was like, look, I have no money. I'm so broke. I just graduated with so much student debt, but I need something that's going to pay my rent. It's going to let me get a Metro card to go to these auditions. And so I started working there, and I straight up LOL lied on my resume. I had never worked in a restaurant before. Absolutely not. I put my friend Ashley down as a reference for another restaurant. I don't think they ever call it, thank God. But I was like, look, I'm a good people person. I have great like organizational skills. I'll be great at this job. And I got hired, I think, on the spot, which was fun. And I worked there for on and off for about a year. And it was an incredible learning experience. I saw a lot of celebs up by the Upper West Side by Museum of Natural History. And it was super cute. They had a really great brunch.
The brunch is where, didn't they have like a strawberry butter something delicious?
My gosh, strawberry butter with the biscuit. Yes, of course I know.
That strawberry butter, I like want to eat it with a spoon. Not actually, but kind of.
It was a lit brunch. You got 1 free coffee, 1 free mimosa or cold drink, 1 free hot cold drink, and something else. It was just included in your brunch, which was great.
Oh.
R.I.P. Isabella's.
And a lot of strawberry butter.
Did they close? Did they close during the pandemic?
I think it closed right before the pandemic. I think it got
gotcha.
bought out, but there's another cute restaurant there now. So it's
nice.
You know, I love that. That's like a sort of a common theme too on this show. Everybody has lied on their resume. You have to.
Of course.
Because how are you going to get like the 1 foot in front of the other? You can't really.
Right.
So
it's like the chicken and the egg thing, right? What came first? It's like they want you to have experience, but like, how do you get experience without the opportunity?
You can't get in without experience. Like, hello, the door. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Back in the day, like those Craigslist ads for New York City restaurants were always like, must have New York City experience, and also you must send your headshot, which is illegal, isn't it?
It's kind of icky, I think.
So icky.
Yeah.
Not to mention illegal, but yeah.
Totally. Okay, so Isabella's was like a dreamy survival job. Do you have one that maybe wasn't so dreamy, a shocking, funny, worst survival job story?
It was also Isabella's, funnily
enough. I love that.
When it was great because it was all a bunch of actors and we all got the job. We all understood what our role there was, you know? So like we would help each other with auditions or taking shifts if one of them had to be covered. But it was also a nightmare to work there sometimes, only because, you know, you're in an affluent neighborhood and there are certain personalities there that demand certain things instantaneously as if you are a wizard, and that
wealthy people suck.
Oh yeah. So people suck at restaurants, and generally I think we've gotten better since then. I think since it closed in 2017, I would like to say. Now with like Twitter and social media and everything blowing up with all these like horror stories and stuff.
Like James Corden, huh?
Yeah.
Yikes.
But there were some, I remember one day at Isabella's, I was like having a terrible brunch because it was so busy and we were in the weeds. And I was carrying a tray of like 9 mimosas to this table that was celebrating a birthday or a graduation or something. I forget what it was. And I was like not focused at all. And I had an entire tray of these drinks and these obviously like champagne flutes. And I take one off and my life just goes in slow motion, because as soon as I take one off to set it down on the table, every single one of those champagne flutes fell on the same guy in his leather jacket. And I was like having an astral experience because I was watching myself like in my face as it was happening. And that was a unique day at that restaurant. I'll say that.
Was it James Corden? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it could have been.
That would be so good.
It could have been.
Yeah. Oh man. You know what I want to say is I'm feeling like this. I'm having a lot of like not PTSD, but like flashbacks from other episodes. Julie Benko has that same story about champagne flutes.
Yes.
She's like, I walked and I spilled a whole thing of champagne flutes. And this is why I love survival job stories, because we all are in it together, you know?
All in it together, and we all can relate to those freaking champagne flutes.
Yeah, I think every server has dropped a champagne flute or 2 or 9 at some point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get into rolling calls. So it's a new audio comedy on Broadway Podcast Network. And the opening line, which I saw this, I was like, my mouth dropped open when I got the email and I saw this. It is when 23-year-old Walt Mendez, played by you, gets a survival job at a struggling level NYC talent agency. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like perfect. That aligns with our show so well. So tell us about it, and tell us what it's like portraying someone who's like a struggling actor, knowing that, I don't want to say you were struggling, I don't know you that well, but you know, the that's kind of like what the stereotype of actors, right? Is that we're always struggling to like get to that next place.
The comedy series is so witty and so smart. It's written by Gordon Greenberg and Steve Rosen, directed by Gordon Greenberg. And it's really just this kid, Walt, who is an artist, who's a musician, a pianist, who was working at, I think it's Marie's Crisis is what it was. I don't know if we name it in the show.
Yes.
I think that's what it was. And who doesn't get paid well there. So he has to get a survival job at this ultra low budget talent agency, the Dinah Levine agency.
It's a little shady there.
Yeah. It was famously played by Julie Halston. And it's a blast through and through, because you see Walt kind of navigating, trying to get these new skills and skill set of like dealing with high profile clients and dealing with people who need stuff all the time, and also dealing with the huge personality that is Dinah Levine. And not to give anything away, but during the series, you see how maybe the business isn't being handled as well as it should be by her husband, who is played by Richard Kind. And all of the shenanigans that kind of ensue with Walt stepping into this world for the first time.
Amazing. Wow. It sounds so great. I need to listen to it way more than I have. So you were just like listing some of the people that are in the show with you. I really want to give a shout out to past Survival Job guest, alum, Mary McGowan, who's also in it.
Yes, Mary McGowan. Lovely,
so this is like an all-star cast.
And Mary also worked a survival job with sorry to interrupt you, Sam.
That's right. No, we're just connecting everything today, and I love it.
Yeah, circle. I love it.
All of it. So I want to ask, how is the rehearsal process for this? What are the differences between your process with, an audio show versus a live show? Can you talk a little bit about what that was all like? And was everybody together? It's tough when it's, I can imagine it must be tough.
It was a unique experience. I mean, it was so fun. I have a really great a relationship with Gordon and Steve, the writers of the show. I'm actually here in San Diego at the Globe doing their version of Christmas Carol, which is called Ebenezer Scrooge's big San Diego Christmas show. It's a local extravaganza here at the Old Globe. But their type of like humor is so fun. So I was really excited to do this podcast series because I do some voiceover work for animation. And so this just felt like a natural fit. It's so different because I never met anyone, really. I had 2 Zoom sessions with Richard and Julie and I think Brittany Mack. But for the most part, all of it was recorded independently with just kind of like this. Like it was me with my headset and my microphone, and Gordon and Steve and Dory, our producer, and Mary, the line producer. Just kind of figuring it out one line at a time. It was pretty funny. I had a session with Richard Kind, and because of the audio delay, because it was being recorded, he didn't understand that I wasn't actually pausing between every line, that it was just the internet. And he's like, why are you pausing? Why are you pausing between every line? I'm like, he's not pausing, Richard. It's just the delay. He's like, oh, okay.
He's like, that's a choice.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if that's the right choice, but you are making one, so I guess I respect it. But in general, I mean, it was a blast. We just got to record pretty much straight through over the course of a couple of days and do some re-records. But it's so different from being a part of like a live show because you have people around you and you're bouncing off of that energy. But this is a much more subdued style, like mockumentary, like all of The Office or Parks and Rec or something like that, where it's all just kind of realistic, even though it's theatrical, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you let everybody know where they can listen to the show?
Yes, you can listen to Rolling Calls on, I think, every single podcast streaming service. You can listen at bpn.fm/rolling calls. You can listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If I'm saying anything that's not right, please someone let me know. But I do think
I went to your link tree. That sounds right.
Yeah,
yes, Jason.
I think you can listen to listen on any streaming service pretty much. And I think new episodes drop every Thursday. So put that in your calendar, y'all.
Right after, listen, right before us or right after us.
There you go. See,
Yeah,
it's like
we drop every Thursday too.
We drop on Thursdays as well. It's all fate. It's all fate that we're all here together.
It is.
How long is the season gonna be?
This season, I'm actually not entirely sure. I think it might be 10 episodes. 10 episodes? Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but there's definitely a lot more episodes that come out. And the arc is pretty fun to follow through. I mean, it's just an all-star cast, and just every episode kind of stands alone, but it has this big through line of Walt navigating this horrible, situation of an agency and then coming out on the other side a little bit stronger.
I love that. It's so cool. Like, I feel like with this new, like, these audio stories, it's taking us back to days when, or I mean, I wasn't alive, but like, back when I imagine when like radio plays were around, right? When like people would sit around the radio listening to these stories and before TV, and it just really reminds me of that. And it's like so cool to be taken back to that.
Yeah, it's fun because it's just storytelling. There's nothing else like visually there for you to like catch your eye on, but it's just, our editors did an amazing job, like adding all the sound effects of what it's like to be in a local office or taking a phone call or like a chair squeak, or opening a soda. But it's just like this audio experience. It's really fun. It's really fun.
And I love that it's accessible to everyone, like theater and live shows. It's not accessible to everyone. Either you're not in the right location or you can't afford a ticket price. So how wonderful to be able to access this on so many platforms. So great. Shout out to BPN and shout out to Rolling Calls. Shout out to Walt.
I want to switch gears just a little bit because like most theater fans, I feel like 99% of us love Hamilton, and you were in the Hamilton parody, right?
Yes.
Where you played Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I think it was Hamilton, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I have two quick questions for you. I don't take too much of your time, but like, what was that process like? And and I saw that Lin actually came. So what was it like to be him and being in this parody of like this iconic show that he created and then performing in front of him?
Right. It was wild. It was a wild experience. When I first got the appointment from my agents, it was, I think the name was Untitled Parody Musical. I don't know, some like weird secret name. And I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but sure. Okay. I was working at Isabella's, being like, I don't want to work here anymore. Let me get something else. So I went in, and then I was like, oh, this is Hamilton, but just a parody and funny. It was written by Gerard Alessandrini, famously from Forbidden Broadway and all of those iterations.
Yes.
So, I mean, it was really fun. I got to play Lin. And funnily enough, I had actually served Lin and his wife while I was a waiter at Isabella's before they had their first child. And I like vividly remember this experience. I was like meeting one of my heroes, and I didn't want to geek out and be like, I'm such a huge fan of yours. You're such an inspiration. So I just like sent them a bunch of free stuff. I was like, I'm trying not to be overbearing because I know you're out at dinner, but like, hey, love you, love your work.
You're like, try the strawberry butter.
Honestly, I was like, do you want like dark and stormy? Do you need like anything you need? Please let me know.
Yeah.
But he and his
literally crying, like serving him his tears rolling down my eyes.
Just like with the check, like please. They came to the show, Tommy Kail, Alex Lacamoire, and Lin. And I told him this story, and he vividly remembers it because I think it was the day or 2 days before his wife gave birth, or maybe the week, whatever it was. And he's like, yes, of course, we went out to Isabella's, and that was like one of our last meals out when we had together. I was like, yeah, I was your server. He's like, what? No way. And he brought the list over, and he was like, yeah, do you remember this guy? He was our server. It was just a weird, like full circle experience working at my survival job, having booked this amazing new parody job that really took off. And it was really affirming in that sense, which was really fun. The show was a hoot. It was 90 minutes, a parody of every single thing about Broadway and Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone remembers how hot Hamilton was / is still, I guess.
Still
Is.
Yeah.
Totally is. Yeah.
And people like lost their minds. I was like, okay, cool. I'm all here for it, you know?
Yes. Wait, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, Dan. Can you give us a little little impression?
Oh my gosh, I haven't up. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it is 9:30 in the morning over there.
It is 9:30
You can decline if you want.
Here, I'll decline here, but if you go to Spotify and you want to listen to our original cast album, it is out there for all its glory, and you can listen to my whiny nasal Lin-Manuel impression.
My whiny nasal. That's so funny. So we're gonna wrap this up shortly. We have a couple more questions, and then surprise, we play a quick fun game at the end to just keep everything fun and happy.
I love it. I love it.
You know, you've had so many great experiences so far artistically. Do you have a dream role or a dream collaboration that would be like the end all be all for you?
Do I have a dream role? I mean, I do think that I would love to, talking about full circles still, make the full circle connection back to Hamilton. And that's something that I've had the experience and luckily enough to make it through several rounds to the very end. And it just hasn't been the right time yet. But I would love to, you know, work with Lynn in any capacity, and being in that show is definitely like, I mean, who wouldn't want to be in that show, right? It's a huge bucket list.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think that, or just working with him in general, would be just a momentous occasion. Working with another huge Latin icon, being Latino myself, you know, I think that would be really, really special.
Love that. Okay, one last question for the really fun game. Do you have just one piece of advice for any actors that are trying to, you know, just moving to New York City or moving to LA or wherever they are, who are trying to get to that next level in their careers?
Yeah, I guess it would be twofold. I mean, the first, of course, is to never stop trying, because
Facts.
everyone's timeline is different. And we all know this, right? It's such a cliche, but like what happens to someone at 21 can also happen to someone at 51 or 61. You know, the success is not a straight line. It's ups and downs and peaks and valleys. But the second part to that is also find stuff that you love that isn't necessarily involved in your dream or what you want your ultimate goal to be, because it just makes you a more rounded person that you can bring to whatever else you want or desire, you know? I don't know.
You preaching,
Thank you
preaching,
so much.
Mr.
Yeah.
Dan.
By the way, we heard it here first on Survival Jobs. Dan is going to be starring in Hamilton, and that's
There
just
you go.
it.
You heard it here first.
We
You heard it
manifested
here.
it all together.
Hey,
So
Lynn,
you'll go.
you hear that?
Hello,
Thanks.
Lynn. If you're listening, definitely check out Rolling Calls, and then after, just cast Dan. No big deal.
Wait, also, I'm sorry to plug this in last minute. Lynn's
Plug
dad,
it.
Luis Miranda, plays my
Yes.
dad in the podcast.
Ah, full circle again.
Yes.
Oh my God, he plays your dad, and you played Lynn. It's funny. That's so good.
That's so
It's meant to be at
funny.
this point. It's meant to be.
It is.
It's
I saw that. I
meant to
saw the
be.
name in the cast list, and I was like, "Oh no, it's probably just another." That's so crazy. Wow, that gave me chills.
Oh,
Wow.
it's fun. It's fun.
Full circle.
Okay, we're manifesting this. Come on,
Yes.
Dan. We're here.
Yes.
The three of
feel
us
it.
together.
Feel the
It was
good
just
vibe.
11,
Feel
11,
the
22, kind of.
Yeah.
We're all here.
Yeah.
Everything's connecting, and it's all going to work out.
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Dan, thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thank
You know what
you.
makes me laugh, Jason, about us every time we like talk about the game? We're like, we're gonna play a really fun game. Like we haven't found a new like way to just, but it is. It's fun.
Okay. I'm
Yeah, I
here
think
for
it's
it.
fun.
So we're just gonna play a quick word association game. We're gonna say something, and then the first thing that comes to your mind, say it as quick as possible, whatever it is.
Oh my
You
God.
can
I'm
swear
nervous.
on this show if that's the first thing that
I
comes to your
can.
mind.
Okay. Great.
Approved by Broadway World. When
Okay, great.
when we had Lisa Lampanelli on, and I was like, hey, there's gonna be some explicit language. They were like, fine.
Totally fine. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Okay, Dan, are you
Yeah.
ready?
Hold on. Let me take a sip of this coffee. Hold on.
Yes. Get it going. The caffeine in the veins.
Yes.
Okay. I'm ready for the super fun game. I'm ready.
Jason, would you like to kick it off?
Sure. Survival job.
Necessary.
Hamilton.
In it.
Disney.
Mouse.
New York City.
Pigeon.
Podcast.
Survival jobs.
Broadway.
Help.
John
On my
Leguizamo.
laptop, it says help right there. I don't know what's.
John Leguizamo.
Kiss my Aztec.
Diva.
Ooh, Liza.
Ooh.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Full circle.
Scrooge.
Humbug.
And last but not least, rolling calls.
Listen on bpn.fm/rolling calls, honey.
Thank you.
Yeah. And where can
Thank
people
you.
follow you as well and become
Yes.
fans and support you?
You can follow me on Twitter as it's slowly sinking at the Dan
Yikes.
Rosales. You can follow me on Instagram and everything else at Dan Rosales, Rosales, everywhere.
And if you're
Amazing.
tuning in today because you're a Dan fan, which you should be, and you don't follow us yet, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and the slowly swinking Twitter at Survival Jobs Pod, on Facebook at Survival Jobs a Podcast. Shoot us an email. Let us know your thoughts at survivaljobspod@gmail.com. Follow me at Sammy Toots and my boy Jason at Jason A. Coombs. Dan,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
It was so fun rolling with Dan today.
Ah,
I love
Jason,
that.
good one. Rolling calls. We did a rolling Zoom call. Never mind. That did
it's
not
okay.
land.
You know what?
It was close. You know what I
It's-
mean?
The
it was
effort
close.
was there. I
Thank
appreciate
you. Thank you so much. Everybody go
Awesome.
listen. Thank you,
Yes.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.